Hi everyone, my name is Alan Lok. I work for CFA Institute, Asia Pacific. I'm the Director of Ethics Education and Professional Standards. And I'm based in Hong Kong. First of all, I'm very honored to be invited for this sharing session by CFA Society Malaysia. The CFA charter holder is a golden standard within the global asset management industry. We are well known for the grueling 3-level of very difficult to pass examination. A lot of candidates have tried and many have fallen. At the core accent of the CFA program lies our Code of Ethics and Standards of Professional Conduct. Our Code of Ethics and Standards of Professional Conduct have been adopted by a full suite of regulators, asset management house, non-for-profit, and many other entities, either in full or partially. Exam-wise, ethics always take up a sizable content for all 3 levels of the CFA examination. Now, why is ethics so important in our profession? Let me attempt to give you my answers in 3 perspectives. First of all, he or she who does not subscribe to anything will fall for everything, from having strong knowledge in how to deal with ethical dilemma situation will prevent you from falling down the slippery slope of unethical misbehavior. It allows you to stay true to your conscience and render you a more holistic character. In more blunt wordings, it will get you out of trouble in your lifelong career. Secondly, we are in the midst of the 4th industrial revolution where AI, 5G, and big data are set to disrupt many professional job roles. Machines and algorithms do not need to sleep and they can process structural transactions at near light speed. Many traditional job roles will be replaced by them, whether you like it or not. Going forward, the demand for human talent that can resolve fuzzy and non-structural problems will be high in demand. Coincidentally, ethical dilemma fall into this realm. To put it in layman terms, ability to resolve ethical dilemma will be a well sought after attribute in future job position. Last but not least, one of the many positive spin-offs from the recent technological improvements comes in the form of lesser information asymmetry. With more information on hand, the normal working folks are getting to demand that their job role and company vision be matched with ESG principles. This new generation is no longer focusing their ambition on profit maximization. They want to contribute back to the society, play a part in tackling global warming, and aspire justice in workplace. And they expect the company they work for to subscribe to this set of values as well. This partly explains the recent rise in ESG fund, green bond issue, as well as impact investing mandate. As a result, being ethical, acting ethically, and able to engage in ethical decision will buy you a ticket into many social networking circles. In other words, ethics is cool. Next, let me take you through to 2 real-life case studies that will provide you with a glimpse of how resolving ethical dilemma are like. Are you ready? Case number 1. Jennifer is a high-ranking government official who, because of her work with the intelligence branch, is regularly briefed through on potential threats to the country, both military and economics. She received information from the intelligence community about the strong likelihood of the onset of a global pandemic in the next 3 months. She recognized that the pandemic will result in widespread economic shock and will have a devastating negative impact on global capital markets. Jennifer contacts Asman, her investment advisor, and directs him to liquidate her investment. Asman should A. Sell the investments as directed by the client. B. Not execute the trade as they are a product of material non-public information. C. Refuse to execute the trade as Jennifer's request is not in line with her previously established investment objective, mandate, and constraint. D. Execute the trades but disclose any possible illegal activity to the appropriate authorities. E. None of the above. What would be your answer? I will pause here for about 7 seconds to let you consider your options. Have you choose your option? Let me slowly explain to you option per option. The circumstances of this case indicate that Jennifer is seeking to liquidate her investments based on material non-public information received about the economy as a result of a government position. CFA Institute Standard of Professional Conduct number 2, Clause A, material non-public information prohibits CFA Institute member who possess material non-public information from acting or causing others to act on that information. Obviously, the information about the oncoming pandemic is both material because it will have an effect on security prices, and a reasonable investor would want to know the information before making an investment decision. And it's non-public because it's not widely distributed to the investment public yet. Clearly, Jennifer, in our case, is in possession of the material non-public information, and the facts suggest that Jennifer is seeking to trade on this information to avoid losses to her portfolio. Now, Jennifer is obviously using non-public information, material non-public information for her own benefit. However, the key issue here is the case of whether Asman is indeed in possession of material non-public information. Is he aware that Jennifer is seeking to trade based on material non-public information? Now, our CFA Institute ethical decision-making framework in part will ask you to identify relevant facts before making a decision on what course to conduct, to follow, to act in an ethical manner. In the fact provided, there is no indication that Asman is in possession of the material non-public information, or that Jennifer has indeed told Asman the reason for wanting to liquidate her portfolio. Therefore, option B, not execute the trade as they are a product of material non-public information, is irrelevant in our case, and therefore B cannot be the answer. Now, how about option D, execute the trade but disclose any possible illegal activity to the appropriate authority? Seems easy, right? Not really. CFA Institute Standard number 3, Clause E, preservation of confidentiality, would allow Asman indeed to disclose illegal activity on the part of Jennifer to the authority. However, in this case, as noted, there's no indication from the fact that Asman is aware that Jennifer is trading on material non-public information. Of course, if Jennifer, as a government official, has trading protocol placed on her, Asman should know and understand those to ensure that the trading is done within those parameters. So, in this case, D is incorrect because Asman does not even know Jennifer is performing something illegal. Now, how about C? Refuse to execute the trade not because of material non-public information, but because Jennifer's request is not in line with her previously established investment objective, mandates, and constraints, commonly known as the investment policy statement. Now, generally, anytime an advisory client seeks to change their investment portfolio, it will be appropriate for their advisor to conduct a suitability analysis to determine if the directive is consistent with the previously provided investment goal, objective, risk tolerance, etc. Okay. However, this is consistent with CFA Institute Standard C, which require CFA Institute member to determine if an investment is suitable to the client financial objective and consistent with the client return objective, and so on and so forth, before taking an investment action. In this case, however, it is not clear from the question whether Jennifer and Asman are indeed timely to do a review. So C is actually not the correct answer. In fact, Jennifer requests to liquidate her portfolio even though it diverged from her long-term financial goal. It may raise red flag for Asman. However, ultimately, if Jennifer insists and demands that the trade be made, Asman, without any evidence of illegal activity, must meet his duty to his client by following her directive. Therefore, in this case, the best choice given the fact from the question is answer A, sell the investment as directed by the client. Because in this case, Asman is unaware of the unethical implication behind the scene. So he still owes a duty to Jennifer, and therefore he should sell the investment as directed by the client. How do you feel? Not simple, right? And that is always the case with ethical dilemma. Let's go to the second case, shall we? Okay, second case. As a result, due to the global pandemic that has severely limited the demand for its product, PPP, a major sports equipment manufacturer, has shut down its operation and laid off 90% of its employees. However, the government is considering invoking its emergency power and contracting with the company to make desperately needed medical equipment. A team of PPP engineers is now working on machine retooling design for the company manufacturing plant. In addition, if and when regular product production is resumed, the company will be eligible to receive low-cost loan under a government stimulus plan that would greatly affect PPP long-term financial positively. Louis, the company CFO, is responsible for investor relations as well as managing the company employee pension plan. He's wrestling with how to address all this information and different potential outcome in disclosure to investor. Should Louis refrain from providing any information given that the future is uncertain? B. Disclose the potential government contract and that PPP engineers are indeed working on transforming the company manufacturing capabilities? C. Express confidence to investor that in his opinion, the low-cost government loan will result in minimal disruption to the company past profitability projection. D. Protect investor interest by aggressively touting PPP long-term financial prospect to keep the stock price from collapsing. Or E. None of the above. I shall pause here for 7 seconds to let you consider your option. How is it? Have you got a correct answer? Now, one of the fundamental ethical principles for investment professional is transparency. This principle is embodied in a number of CFA Institute standard of professional conduct, including number 5, clause B, communication with client and prospective clients, and number 1, clause C, misrepresentation. Under this standard, CFA Institute member must disclose basic information about investment, disclose significant limitation and risk, identify factors that are important to investment analysis, distinguish between facts and opinion, and most importantly, not misrepresent any facts related to investment analysis or their professional activity. At the same time, however, CFA standard number 4, clause A, loyalty to employer, prohibit CFA Institute member from divulging confidential information about their employer, and standard 2, clause B, prohibit member from engaging in practice that distort security price with the intent to mislead market participants. These are all the CFA Code of Ethics and Professional Standard that would be relevant for this case. Now, in this case, one of Louis' responsibility as CEO of PPP is to provide information about the company to investor and the security market so that they can make informed decisions. So does it mean that since he need to update the market, A is the correct answer, refrain from providing any information given that the future is uncertain? Now, this answer is actually not correct. Why? Because refraining from providing any information about the company will not satisfy investor and the financial market and lead to negative financial consequences for PPT. So, for Louis, he cannot refrain from providing any information just because the future is uncertain. However, does this mean that the correct answer is B? Disclose the potential government contract and PPP engineers are working on transforming the company manufacturing capability? Is this correct? Now, this answer is also incorrect. Why? Because while the potential government contract acknowledged that PPP engineers are working on retooling the company machine to manufacture medical property, plant and equipment is factual. However, Louis must also make sure that this information about the early stage of an enormous new business initiative is not confidential or material, non-public information. Such information should be disclosed only when it is timely to give to the investor generally. So at this early stage, it's still too early and therefore it is not supposed to be disclosed. And therefore B is not the correct answer. Now, how about C? If he cannot disclose such early information, could he just merely express confidence to investor that in his opinion, the low-cost government loan will result in minimal disruption to the company past profitability projection? After all, this low-cost government loan is a public information. Well, this answer is also not correct. Why? Because while the assistance and eligibility of PPP for the lowest cost government loan program is apparently publicly known, Louis' opinion about whether the company can indeed take advantage of this program, the amount of money borrowed, and how the funds will affect PPP bottom line seems to be both opinion and speculative at this point. So he can only disclose facts and not opinion or any speculation, and therefore C is not correct. So if that's the case, wouldn't the answer be D? At least Louis should protect investor interest by aggressively touting PPP long-term financial prospect to keep the stock price from collapsing. Would that be the correct answer? Well, unfortunately, this is not the correct answer as well. Why? Because while protecting investor interest and the interest of PPP employee and retiree by maintaining the company's stock price seems to be a very honorable and worthy goal. However, doing so by circulating false and misleading information in an effort to manipulate the stock price is also unethical and a violation of the CFA Institute Standard 2 Clause B. While it may be difficult in this uncertain and challenging time, Louis must work to strike a balance between helpful, factual information and informed information about the future without disclosing confidential information or overhyping PPP financial prospect in a manner that can be seen as manipulating the stock price. So under the facts provided, D is not the correct answer. And obviously, the correct answer is E, none of the above. So as you can see, doing an ethical dilemma is not as easy, not as clear-cut, it's not always black and white. And in this case, this is exceptionally complicated cases which involve confidential information cannot be disclosed, and you cannot disclose any speculation or any opinion, and you can only release facts, and you cannot choose not to update the public. So this is a tough job to have, and being a CFO is not easy as well. And this is just one of the job role in the market. Well, I hope you have got the correct answer, and even if not, I hereby thank you for participating, and I hope all of you have enjoyed my session. Now, do remember that ethics form the very foundation in which trust, reputation, confidence, and values are built. All these are essential elements to a sound investment industry. See you in the exam arena. Bye bye.